Salutations everyone, based on where you're watching this, today's video is going to be about holiday or seasonal, holiday and seasonal depression are two different things, so let me explain. Seasonal depression is depression with the seasons, but when I said seasonal, I was kind of thinking like holiday seasons, and then holiday depression is depression brought on by holidays. Usually, it's typically holidays that are usually about being together with the family, things that are typically supposed to be like happiness, cheer. Majority of the time, this is associated with Christmas time. It can also happen with Thanksgiving, but there's people that don't like Thanksgiving for reasons other than depression, which we will not go into because if you don't know, I don't know what kind of history classes you're taking, or you might be a child and then they might just be talking about pilgrims and turkey, and then you just don't know what's going on. At any rate, so holiday depression, Christmas time, the time of presents, snowflakes, wonderment, happiness, joy, being together with your family, good food, things like that. But not everybody has that. Sometimes Christmas time can be something not worth celebrating. Sometimes people lose family members during Christmas. Sometimes people already lost family members and this is their first Christmas without them. Or they're just alone and they don't have any family and they never have. So they don't really care for holidays which focus on family oriented togetherness because they don't have that and they don't know what that's like. Or there's people, obviously there's people that don't celebrate Christmas anyway, but then they wouldn't really be experiencing depression over it per se because they celebrate different holidays or they don't celebrate any holidays. Or maybe there's people that celebrate different holidays that do want to celebrate Christmas but they can't because their family forbids it, and so maybe they're sad about it in that fashion, which is not quite the same thing. But all feelings are valid. It doesn't give you an excuse to act inappropriately, but it doesn't mean your feelings aren't valid. So the reason I brought this particular topic up is sort of depression at large, which is something that is mental health in general, is something that's severely overlooked in many countries, but America especially. Like, yes, it's not as stigmatized as it once was, even a decade ago. Like, anybody that's ever seen or read like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or something like that, where people literally got lobotomies, anybody with a mental disorder was put in an insane asylum to rot and die, and many people suffered and they couldn't get the help that they needed. And so compared to that, we have made leaps and bounds progression wise, but there's still a lot more that we can do. For instance, I don't know if anybody that's watching me has ever watched and or heard of Baby Sarian. She is a YouTube beauty guru, I guess would be the term, that she puts on her makeup like she talks about murder mysteries, and there are a lot of murder mysteries which could have been avoided if only the person in question had just got mental help that they needed. Like, they did something quote unquote crazy and then they just got released back into society, or they just went to jail for a little bit and they just sent them on their way instead of sending them to a treatment facility where they could get the care that they needed so that they can maybe not repeat this action again and people wouldn't die. uh One of the mysteries in question took place in Canada, and Canada's, I believe, at least this, all my information is based off this one video. I should do more research into this personally, and maybe I'll make a separate video about this topic in general. But apparently, Canada's mental health systems are a little bit better. Part of that is probably due to the fact that they have, health care for everybody, and then you just pay that with your taxes. And that would make it way easier to get mental health care because it's free and paid for already from the government. Whereas, like in America, a lot of people don't have mental health care because they can't afford it, which was the case for many of these murderers, because maybe they were getting treatment, but then they couldn't afford it, so they had to stop. And then this terrible thing happened, and now they're like, oh, that person should have gotten help. Well, that would have helped us a year ago, but it's too late now. And we basically failed that person, and we failed the person that they hurt, and we failed their families. So, the long and the short of it is, mental health is a serious issue all year round, and we should really take that into consideration before we do or say certain things. Like, I know people don't sit around thinking, maybe this person doesn't like Christmas or doesn't say celebrate Christmas. When you go to somebody and you say, oh, have a Merry Christmas, they're just trying to be nice. For all this the Christmas is their favorite time of year, and all their family is alive and well. They're gonna have a big party and a big feast, and there's just gonna be lots of presents and love all around. And so they're very excited for Christmas, and they just want to share that joy with you. Or like maybe you did something that made their day better, and so they just wanted to share that moment with you, not knowing that maybe your mom died on Christmas, or that maybe you were assaulted last Christmas, or that maybe you're an orphan and you never had a family. Or I mean, some things are not even quite that dramatic. It's just everybody has a story. And like the whole debate with like uh Starbucks, just instead of saying like Merry Christmas on their cups, they were trying to be a little bit more generic and all encompassing, and people were getting mad about that. It was like, are you really so selfish that you can't acknowledge the fact that not everybody cares about Christmas? Like, yeah, me personally, I like Christmas. I like presents. Cute people talking about Christmas has gotten too capitalized. Yes, it has. I mean, it's up to you to make it not capitalized. You know, just don't buy a bunch of stuff. Make all your presents, whatever. It's not gonna stop all the sales and the stores having all the Christmas specific gift sets and what have you. But and the decorations are nice, but personally I don't care about, I don't know, I don't not care about Christmas. Used to be one of my favorite holidays as a child, as it is for many people that celebrate Christmas. As a child, Christmas is one of your favorite holidays. You get gifts, you don't have to go to school, um you get lots of food. It's basically a triple whammy of exciting things. And honestly, as I got older, I don't really care as much about it. But I don't know. Well, but a thing that I can relate to is just sort of like the depression side of things. Now, Christmas personally doesn't make me feel a type of way, but just kind of, life in general, which is something that happens to a lot of people, and it apparently has been happening a lot in the millennial generation, as things have gotten more expensive and there's more pressure for jobs and college and family, because the previous generation is like, why aren't you doing these things? And it's because we're just so overwhelmed with like saving the planet, and we're overpopulated, and like I have $50,000 in debt and I don't even have an associate's degree yet, and we kind of have a lot of other things to focus on, but they're just over here like, back in my day, I paid for my college degree with a part-time job, and I only made $5 a day or something. And I was like, what? You realize that that's not how anything works now, right? Which is a completely different subject and a completely different topic that maybe I'll branch out into with a different video. But on a related note, speaking of other videos, I will be making a part 2. This is going to be a 3-part sort of interconnected series within the 12 days of Christmas. I should make a banner. I'm not going to do that right now, but within the 12 days of Christmas, where I'm going to relate to my personal instances of feeling like depression and just general, like, I don't want to do this anymore, no Rihanna, and just things like that. So if you would like to see that video, first you should thumbs up if you like this one. If you didn't, you don't have to. You should subscribe if you like me. If you don't, you don't have to. But hopefully I will see you in the next video, and may God be with you.